Hi, molweni, ndiyabulisa, ninjani namhlanje. Mandithembe kwaye ndinqwenela ukuba yonke into ihamba kakuhle. Hello, hi everybody. Welcome back to African Xhosa ASMR. So in today's video, I wanna drop some knowledge, obviously, duh. What else could I do? By the way, if you have video suggestions, please drop them down below. Otherwise, if I don't hear from you, I will just assume that you guys are having fun with the video ideas that I am posting, and you're fine with me just dropping some knowledge. But if you do have a different, thing that you would like me to do, just comment on the comment section. And obviously I also do take personalized videos, meaning I make custom videos upon request. What you normally do is drop me an email. My email address is on the about section, but to make sure that I read your email in time, please do DM me on my Instagram. It's @sive_m. Just let me know, hey girl, I just dropped you an email. I would like to request a custom video, and then I will be able to attend to that. When writing me an email for a custom video, please make sure that you write what you want, the topic that you want, and if you have any specifics that you want in the video, list them there and how long you want the video to be. And based on you, if you were in my position, how much would you be willing to pay for that video? So let me know all those things, and then once I have all that information, the length of the video, the price that you're willing to pay, as well as the topic that you want me to cover, I'll be able to respond to you. Unfortunately, I can't respond if you just say, hi, I would like a custom video. Tell me I like a custom video and this is what I want, and then I'll be able to attend to you. And I don't do any funny business, no shenanigans. We don't do that. We don't do that. So it should be something respectable that I would do. Okay, okay, cool. Thank you very much. Please make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe if you like my videos. This way I can be able to grow, and I can also be able to advance my technical skills in terms of creating content for you. A comment, a like, a share does really go a long way. So I'd really appreciate it if you do that. And to everybody who has already done that and has already clicked the join button to become an exclusive member of the channel, thank you so very much. Okay, that was a handful, and I always forget to say that. But anyway, with all that being said, I think we should get into today's topic. In today's video, I want to teach you and you about the history behind some of the names given to towns in different provinces in South Africa. Some of the towns are named after historic figures. Some are named after colonizers. Some are named after the Kardashians. Why is that? What's the history behind them, and where exactly are they based? that's exactly what today's video is all about. I will firstly give you the name of the town as well as the province in which the town is situated. Then I will drop a fun fact about each and every town as well as the history behind its name. So I'll be doing all those four things for you. All I need you to do is sit down, relax, and hopefully you will enjoy watching today's video. Without further ado, let's get started. And what that means is Singapore sisanga maseko, masikaule, suahoqa. So, I'm biased. So you know which province I'm going to start with. You know, I always, forever and always have a special spot, a soft spot for my province, the Eastern Cape. I'm a proudly Eastern Cape girl from emampondweni. Kaloku mandiqale ngathi nicinga njani cinga njalo mna. Qala ngathi ke idolophu yethu yokuqala esiza kuthetha ngayo yeyiphi kanye kanye. Zawube ndinibalisela ndinixelela ngedolophu nganye nganye. Ndizonixelela ngegama ledolophu nditsho ndinixelele ngokuba isuka kweyiphi ingingqi. Ngengingqi ndithetha ngokuba isuka kweliphi iphondo. Emveni koko ndinixelele ngemvelaphi yayo yonke le nto. Emveni kokuba ndinixelele ngemvelaphi yayo, ndinixelele nje into ethe nqa endinganoyazi ngayo loo dolophu ezube ndithetha ngayo. Ezi dolophu ke bizwa emveni kwamaqhawe ethu asilweleyo ukuze sifumane inkululeko. Naba ke babesincukubeza ukuze singakwazi ukufumana inkululeko yethu le sayilwelayo, kodwa ke sathi sayifumana. Emveni koko ndigqibele ngokunixelela ke izinto nje wethu ngazo zonke izingingqi. Masithembe ukuba nizolonwabela olu hlelo. Masiqale ngedolophu yethu yokuqala. So, for our very first city or town in the Eastern Cape, we have a town called Lady Frere. Lady Frere. Lady Frere, called Gqeberha. Gqeberha, situated here within the Eastern Cape province of South Africa. So, Gqeberha, Lady Frere, it's a bit windy outside. It was raining just now, so maybe you might hear that. Sorry. So, Lady Frere, Gqeberha, is named after the wife of Sir Henry Frere. So, he was a colonial governor. And it was named in 1879 during the British expansion into the Xhosa territories. Fun fact about Gqeberha: Gqeberha means bulrush water and reflect the area's Xhosa roots and wetlands. And that is Gqeberha, Lady Frere in English. Okay, now still situated within the Eastern Cape is one of the biggest cities ever, and that is Port Elizabeth. Port Elizabeth. Port Elizabeth is Gqeberha. 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 Port Elizabeth. Port Elizabeth. We also do have Port Edward. Port Elizabeth. I always mix up Port Elizabeth with Port Edward. They both have port. Port Elizabeth, Gqeberha Elizabeth Donkin, the wife of Governor Sir Donkin. So that's where the name Port Elizabeth comes from. It is from Elizabeth Donkin, the wife of Governor Donkin. And it was a tribute after her death in 1820. She died in 1820 and is a tribute to that. Gqeberha was named after the wife of Sir Duncan, who was Elizabeth, hence Port Elizabeth, now formerly known as Gqeberha. Okay, I think we should do one more town in the Eastern Cape. One other town in the Eastern Cape that we have. Did I say a fun fact about Port Elizabeth? Fun fact about Gqeberha. Gqeberha was one of the first major cities in South Africa to undergo the name change as part of the national transformations efforts. And that is a topic that I will talk about as I approach the conclusion. I will talk about the name changes as part of the national transformations in South Africa. So now Port Elizabeth is no longer known as Port Elizabeth because South Africans are taking back their power and they are giving towns names that resonate with the roots of the country itself. Hence, now Port Elizabeth is called Gqeberha. But I'll dwell on that a bit later, okay? I will dwell on that a bit later. For our third and final town that I'm going to talk about in the Eastern Cape, we have plenty, but it was so hard for me to choose, but I had to choose one, I had to. And for our third and final town, we have Alice. Alice, not Alice in Wonderland. No, not Alice in Wonderland. Alice, and we call it Etikeni, situated within the Eastern Cape province of South Africa, is named after Princess Alice, the daughter of Queen Victoria. So Alice Etikeni is named after Princess Alice, the daughter of Queen Victoria. So a colonial era naming in 1847, now renamed to reflect the Xhosa heritage, called Etikeni, and the colonial name of the town is Alice, after Princess Alice. So this name was given in 1847. Fun fact about Alice is that it is home to the University of Frere. Alma mater of leaders like Nelson Mandela and Oliver Tambo studied at the University of Frere in Etikeni, Alice. Other fun fact is Robert Mugabe, the late president of Zimbabwe, also studied at the University of Frere, Etikeni in Alice. Okay, we are done with the Eastern Cape. Okay. We're done. I don't feel like I am biased anymore, okay? Now we can move on. We can move on to the next province. Since I started with the Eastern Cape, which is in the easternmost part of South Africa, with South Africa being on the southernmost part of the African continent, I think it's only fair for me to move to the neighboring province to the Eastern Cape, and that is the KwaZulu-Natal province of South Africa. By the way, province means a state or a prefecture, as other countries may call it. In South Africa, we call them provinces, but you might call them states, or you can call them prefectures as well. So now, coming to the KwaZulu-Natal province of South Africa, what town can we talk about? Okay. In the KwaZulu-Natal province of South Africa, we have the capital city of the province, if my memory serves me correctly, and that is Pietermaritzburg. Pietermaritzburg is named after Peter and Gerrit Maritz, and they were leaders. Okay, and why is that? It was done in order to commemorate their role in the Great Trek. And then, fun fact about Pietermaritzburg is that locals often shorten the name to PMB, standing for Pietermaritzburg, and it's known for the Comrades Marathons finish line. Okay, there's a lot of Comrade Marathons that usually take place on that side within the KwaZulu-Natal province of South Africa. And that was Pietermaritzburg, the capital city of the KwaZulu-Natal province of South Africa. And I would have assumed that Durban would be the capital city, but no, it's actually Pietermaritzburg. Okay, now, which other province should we move to? I think we should move to the most famous province in South Africa, and one of the busiest provinces in South Africa, and that is Gauteng. Gauteng. eGauteng bethunana. What do we have? Should we though? But before we do that, I was just speaking of KwaZulu-Natal province, and before I go, as I was saying that Durban, I thought it was a capital city, and it's not. Let's just talk about Durban a bit. Durban is named after Sir Benjamin Durban, governor of the Cape Colony. And why? It was renamed in 1835 during the British colonial rule. And this is the province where King Shaka Zulu is from. A lot of people know about Shaka Zulu this, Shaka Zulu that, and he is actually from this province. And if you watch The Lion King, that's the language that inspired some of the songs, and even the people were hired, to do some background, whatnot. In The Lion King are South African, and they speak isiZulu, and they are from the KwaZulu-Natal province of South Africa. And one of the most famous songs from The Lion King, Nansi kwenyama bakithi babu sithi kwenyama, is actually a Zulu song, which means here comes the lion, brothers and sisters. So so fun fact about Durban is that Durban has the busiest port in South Africa, and a strong Indian cultural influence. The bunny chow was invented there. Just for background, outside of India, that's where you're most likely to find the highest population of Indians in the world. They are found in Durban, KwaZulu-Natal province of South Africa. They were taken from their respective countries and promised a better life in South Africa, but they were enslaved in order to work in their sugar cane plantations. So they were given an option to go back home or to stay in South Africa and be given land. Some opted to go back home and others remained behind and started new lives. Hence, you have the highest populations of Indians outside of India in the Durban city of South Africa. And the bani chow is a traditional Indian dish that is very, very famous in South Africa. It's a street food, and your trip to South Africa is never ever complete without you tasting a bani chow. Okay, now that I'm done with the KwaZulu-Natal province of South Africa, I think we should move to the biggest, not in terms of size, but in terms of capitalism, if I may put it that way, province in South Africa, and that is Gauteng. Egauteng. A lot of things happen in Gauteng. Others would call it the Hollywood of South Africa. There's a lot of movies taking place there. Like, if you want to make it like that, you go to Gauteng. And also businesses, corporate. There's a lot of businesses in the Gauteng province of South Africa, and also people who want to make something out of their lives. They usually say you're going to eGauteng, you're going to eGoli. That's where people usually go to seek a better life for themselves. And it is called the City of Gold, the land of opportunities, the City of Gold. And that's because the gold mines are found there, here in South Africa. So what cities or towns can I talk about in Gauteng? In Gauteng, we have Pretoria, one of the 3 capital cities that we have in South Africa, which is Pretoria. So many other countries have just one capital city. But South Africa, the Rainbow Nation, said, what? No. We can't just have one official language. We can't have just one capital city. When we go out, we go big. So we obviously have to have 12 official languages. And we obviously have to have 3 capital cities. So our country has not 1, not 2, but 3 capital cities. And one of those is Pretoria. The others are Bloemfontein as well as Cape Town, situated within the Free State and the Western Cape province of South Africa. Now, what about Pretoria? Pretoria in Gauteng is named after Andries Pretorius, who was a leader as well. He was honored for his victory at the Battle of the Blood River. The Battle of the Blood River. Fun fact about Pretoria is that it is known as the Jacaranda City. The Jacaranda City for the thousands of purple blossoming trees that bloom each spring. Every time I was in Japan during the spring season, it always made me feel like home. It always made me feel like I'm just walking through the streets of Pretoria, being surrounded by the jacaranda tree, despite those being the cherry blossom trees. The jacaranda trees are so beautiful, and once you visit Pretoria in spring, make sure you check them out. Absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. And it's called the Jacaranda City. And there's also Jacaranda FM, where I was invited to just go there, just talk about myself, talk about my interest, what I do, and all those fun things. And I went there, had lots and lots of fun on the morning show with Martin Bester. Everybody was so sweet. I had so much fun. So thank you, Jacaranda FM, for inviting me. Had lots of fun. So yeah, checked out the jacaranda trees. What else can I talk about? I think after that we should talk about the Western Cape. Shh, what's that sound? What's that sound? What's that sound? What's that sound? I think we should talk about the Western Cape province of South Africa, which is the province where the colonizers arrived. They arrived in the Cape of Good Hope, in the Western Cape province of South Africa, and everybody knows Cape Town. Cape Town. That's where the colonizers arrived, the Western Cape province of South Africa. So, what towns can I talk about? We have Riebeek West. Riebeek West in the Western Cape province of South Africa is named after Jan van Riebeek. Jan van Riebeek, who is a Dutch colonial administrator. Jan van Riebeek was honored as the founder of the Cape settlement in the 1600s, when the colonizers arrived to South Africa. So that is Riebeek West in the Western Cape province of South Africa. Fun fact about Riebeek West is that it is the birthplace of not just one but two South African prime ministers. The first one is Jan Smuts, and then the second one is D.F. Malan. So yeah, that is it for Riebeek West. And after that, I think let's talk about another west, which is the Northwest province of South Africa. Northwest province of South Africa. One thing I like about the provinces of South Africa, the majority of them are named after their locations based on the campus. Eastern Cape, it's on the eastern part of South Africa. Northwest, it's on the northern, but the western part of South Africa. Western Cape is on the western part of South Africa. All those. It's fun. It's fun. Now let's talk about Northwest. Northwest, we have Taung. Taung is named after Chief Taung. Taung means place of the lion in Setswana. Place of the lion in Setswana. Taung. Fun facts about Taung is that Taung is where the famous Taung child fossil was discovered in 1927. This fossil serves as a key piece in the human evolution studies, and that is Taung. Taung in the Northwest province of South Africa. After that, I think we should talk about which other province? I think we should talk about the Northern Cape. the Northern Cape, which is on the northern part of South Africa. The Northern Cape. In Northern Cape, we have a town that is named after the Kardashians. Kardashians, the most famous Kardashians of them all. That is Kimberley. 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 In the Northern Cape, we have Kimberley. So I was joking, by the way. It's not really named after the Kardashians, but you know, Kimberley. Yeah, but so many people with the name Kimberley. So, but why is that? Why is that? Well, Kimberley, we had John Wodehouse, the first Earl of Kimberley, the British Secretary of the State for the Colonies. So that is what it is named after. It was named during the Diamond Rush to honor his colonial service. Fun fact about Kimberley is that Kimberley is home to the Big Hole, the largest hand-dug excavation in the world. Not just the African continent, in the world. It is the largest hand-dug excavation. This hole was dug by hand, and it's huge. So that's one of the famous tourist attraction sites for people who visit South Africa in Kimberley. Okay, after Kimberley in the Northern Cape province, we should talk about which other province? I think we should talk about the Free State province of South Africa. In Free State, what do we have? In Free State, we have a town called Mamafubedu, which is Petrus Steyn, which is Mamafubedu, is named after Petrus Steyn. Petrus Steyn was a local landowner. Why? It is named to reflect the settler ownership, and it was later renamed. The town's new name is now Mamafubedu. This is my first time hearing this, Mamafubedu. And it was done in order to honor a respectful local figure and reflects post-apartheid cultural proclaim. Wow, that is absolutely interesting. Now, I think we should talk about the history behind these different towns. Why are their names changed? It's pretty obvious, but let's just talk a little bit more about that. For example, Port Elizabeth is now Gqeberha, Alice called it Dikeni, and so on and so forth. Why is that? Let us explore that. Now, for the post-apartheid cultural reclamation in South African towns. After the fall of apartheid in 1994, South Africa entered a period of rebuilding its national identity. One major part of this process has been renaming places, cities, towns, streets, and landmarks that were originally named during colonialism or apartheid to better reflect the country's indigenous languages, cultures, heroes, and histories. These name changes are not just symbolic, they serve to, number one, restore dignity to communities who were marginalized. Secondly, to celebrate African history and indigenous languages. Thirdly, to break from colonial legacies that erased or ignored African heritage. Lastly, to create inclusivity in public spaces that everyone can relate to. Examples of towns that we discussed that undergone this: Alice, eThekwini. Why was the name Alice changed? Because Alice was a British colonial name honoring Queen Victoria's daughter. Cultural reclamation, Dikeni, reflects local Xhosa heritage and reclaims indigenous identity, especially important in a town home to Forte University, a hub for African intellectual and liberation movements. The second town is Lady Frere. Why the name change? Originally named after the wife of the colonial governor, who had no local cultural collections. That's why. Cultural reclamation. Qaqadu is a Xhosa word meaning bulrush water, tying the town back to its indigenous environment and its people. Another town, Port Elizabeth, Gqeberha. Port Elizabeth was named by a British official for his wife who has no reference to local culture or history. In terms of cultural reclamation, Gqeberha is a Xhosa name for Bacon's River, which runs through the city. It symbolizes pride in local language and culture. Lastly, we have Mamafubedu, which is Petrus Stain. It was named after a white landowner during colonial expansion. Cultural reclamation. Mamafubedu honors a respected local woman and gives recognition to the community's African roots, shifting the narrative from land ownership to lived heritage. Why does this matter? For many South Africans, especially Black communities, place names are not just neutral. They carry a weight of colonialism and apartheid. Renaming towns is part of a broader healing process, in a way of reclaiming the space and the story. It is not about erasing history, but about balancing it, making sure all voices and identities are acknowledged in the landscape of South Africa. That is pretty much it. I hope today you learned a thing or two about the history behind some of the towns and cities that we have here in South Africa. Have a great day or night wherever you are in the world. But before I say goodbye, I have to read you word of the day. Word of the day. What are we going to read today? Let's see. Okay. We are going to be getting our word of the day from the book of Colossians, chapter 3, verse 13. And it reads, bearing with one another, and if one has a complaint against another, forgiving each other as the Lord has forgiven you, so you also must forgive. Those are such beautiful words. I hope they encourage you throughout the rest of the week. Have a great day or night wherever you are in the world. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye. Abra. Kadabra.